All right, so here's a little quick video on the different layers and levels of the law of time and how you would want to go about acquiring different areas of knowledge within that system, okay? So let's say you've never heard of the law of time before ever, or you've introduced it to somebody. I try to make it really basic, and it might be a good idea if you also try to make it basic. So what I would do is I would find their galactic signature, and as well as, their 13 moon calendar date. The 13 moon calendar date isn't something that I would necessarily focus on too much. It is pertinent information, as always, connecting with the tone and the chakra and everything to do with your birthday in regards to the Gregorian, in regards to the 13 moon calendar. Just as even in the Gregorian, the numerology is also powerful as well. But we're talking about something else, and just because we're talking about a different calendar or a different type of astrology, in no way does it negate the actual awesome abilities and powers and insights that one can gain through numerology and astrology and all sorts of things. Law of time is just one slice in what I consider a vast arsenal of self-awareness. And that being said, so what I believe studying and living through the law of time really gives is that it accelerates the element of self-awareness, as well as increasing collective telepathy and in returning to nature. And so that's when you factor in all those things together, that's why there isn't so much people who are trying to go viral or proliferate the law of time in that way, because it's inherent in the teachings that it is not necessary. So, and when you realize that you have to work a lot less hard than one realizes. And that is one of also the factors of the 1260 frequency versus the 1320 frequency, where the 1260 frequency of constantly go, 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 and the name of every day needs to be as productive as possible, that tends to get carried into someone's study of the law of time. It's nearly impossible to unless you lived in an Amish community or literally in the wild, it's pretty hard to get out of the grip of the 1260 frequency, or not have been affected by it by just living through life and being brought up. Anyways, a little bit of a tangent there. So I wouldn't focus so much on that, and I would focus on, all right, what's their galactic signature? And from there, go into, all right, it's based on 20 seals and 13 tones, and every galactic signature is a combination of these 20 seals and 13 tones. And then, so I would then emphasize on the qualities of the seal and tone, and then I would also mention to them that it goes in 13-day energy wave spells, where the 13 days represents part of one's life purpose, according to the Law of Time books. I find it to be, doesn't have to be a North Star, like, oh, this is my purpose. Like, do what you want, honestly. But it's pretty cool. And feeling the energy of that, it really adds to one's life and awareness, and can continue to do so, at least from what I've seen, and that is opinion. So, let's say today is Kina 172, a yellow electric human. And obviously when I tell somebody their signature, I'm going to tell them this poem as well that goes with it. So the yellow electric human, that would be the 12th seal, the yellow human, also known as the sage archetype. And then it is the third tone, the electric tone. So combining those two qualities, here we get a poem, which is, sorry, feeling a little burp now. I activate in order to influence. Bonding wisdom. I seal the process of free will with the electric tone of service. I am guided by the power of intelligence. And anyways, if this person has more questions for me, if I'm telling somebody, then I will answer more of them. But for the most part, I'm not trying to flood them with information. I'm not trying to convince them of anything. It's a seed, it's an energetic seed that's kind of planted, and what they do with it is up to them. And from what I found, it's about 7 years is what it takes for the seed to activate and bloom within somebody. So we're gonna see what happens, because we planted a lot of seeds 7 years ago. So oh, interesting. Sorry, just my mind thinking about other events that are not relevant here. So going up, or what I would continue to tell somebody at that, who's new to the law of time. And then let's say I'd introduce them to the 13 moon calendar. And if they wanted to follow along, then the calendar is a means of yearly step-by-step through the harmonic 28-day cycles to activate. It could be anything, honestly, but it starts out with figuring out what you want your purpose essentially be for that year. And then at the end of the year, at the end of 13 moons, it blossoms and blooms. And then obviously we restart with another cycle again. And it's a never-ending spiral upward of insights and finding more about oneself. And I want to emphasize that especially because the answers you find, just because it's through the law of time, it is always going to come through your vessel, through your crown, whatever information. It could come through things you see in the world, information, numbers, colors, you name it, okay? There is no limit to the means in which the universe can embed and communicate to you through this. And that's why it's so trippy, okay? And that's why the magic is magic, because it blows people's minds. And if you're here and listening, I'm pretty sure that you have experienced some mind-blowing things that you cannot explain through pure coincidence. It is more than coincidence, okay? So that being said, the 13 moon calendar, there's free PDFs to download online. They're non-profit organization, which they should probably get more profits, but it's not anything that it's they want you to believe everything, as in like you take your own culture and whatever your religious beliefs are and keep them and do what you want. If you want to add this layer to it of understanding, feel free. It's very, in that way, you find the answers for yourself. We do provide answers, but they're still your answers that are shaped according to your individual experience, which is completely unique to yourself, okay? So, you know, you get the 13 moon calendar free PDF, and you find out, and it's really easy as well because the Gregorian calendar is built in to the 13 moon calendar system that they write it, you know, in each day as well, to make that easier, because we are navigating the Gregorian calendar still at this moment for some reason. And so each day you'll find out wherever we are in the year, and you can find out different layers, which begins with figuring out that the 13 tones which make up the galactic signatures are also present in the 13 moons. So 13 tones, 13 tunes. And so right now we are at lunar moon Cilio 21, and Cilio is a heart chakra day. It is the third week of the lunar moon, and so we can draw the aspects of the lunar moon, which is challenge, stabilizing, and polarizing. Sorry, sometimes I think about too many things. And so those are the aspects. And now we're on the third week, which the third week is a transformative week. Another layers of the 13 moon calendar, which one can find out through studying it every day. But essentially, if I would like somebody to get into this, you find out what the day is, and then you find out what the galactic signature is. And by finding the galactic signature, I mean putting the poem together yourself. Now, there are these apps that I love them. I really do. But at the same time, people don't learn from being told what the signature is every day. I have almost never seen it happen, actually. So, finding the words from each of the, you know, aspects, the seals and the tones, and then putting them together in the poem, and that is what really makes it click. Like, oh yeah, all right, so, you know, it's less about the poem and more about, all right, third tone, activate, bonding, service, and then you multiply bonding, activating, and service with the seal keywords, which for today be influence, wisdom, free will. And then each day you put them together and write them down oneself. And if somebody wants to go in through further levels, they can write them down and they can draw the energy of the seal, which that is actually what I would recommend. And so what I recommend, again, sorry for saying that word a lot of times, is that somebody simply does that for the first 3 weeks of the law of time. Just do that. Just get accustomed to what the seals are, what the tones are, and navigating, figuring out what the day of the calendar is. And just leave it at that. Okay? And then after that, one can go into the higher levels and expand and start figuring out the layers of information that, because as I said, it's simple in the sense that if you know what the calendar date is and you know what the seal is, that is the only 2 things of information that you need. And then there's a whole bunch of information below that. You know, it's kind of similar to if there's food in a grocery store and, you know, it's a multi-ingredient product, and in the, let's say they say, you know, custom spice blend, okay? And that custom spice blend means this, but then you can also look in the brackets and see that, okay, it's got, you know, cumin, clove, oregano, sage, basil. So that's what I kind of mean by that, where if you know what, like today, where it is Kin 172, yellow electric human, and lunar moon is Cilio 21, one can use that information and find a lot more layers. Like, there are numbers associated to the day of the week, the heart chakra. There are signatures connected to Kin 172, and that's known as the Destiny Oracle. And these are all extra layers that can go into, and then even more. And I think I'm going to end the video there because I kind of get sidetracked sometimes. But that is basically what I would do if I was introducing and bringing the law of time to somebody new. What I recommend, at least, you know, for simplicity, and as well as I need to, I don't know why I didn't add this, meditate. To meditate upon these codes is really where one is going to find the insights. And once again, with the intention of your meditation, it can just be a natural mind meditation where there's no intention at all and just listening. Or it can be, all right, I would like to dive into meditating upon the yellow electric human and what that means. And then you could ask what it means for the day. You can meditate upon what it means for yourself personally, how you relate to it, how your own galactic signature connects and relates to it. And it's through these reflections that day by day, it works really good. So in lak'ech, peace.